Okay, so the next area we want to get into is I want to go through the cropping interface. We've added some new technology in that area to make things a little bit more efficient for you in the way of when it comes to cropping additional products like buttons and bag tags and memory mates, that sort of thing. But let me reiterate the fact that in order to really save yourself as much time in the crop interface, it's always best to capture your subjects as accurately and consistently as possible as far as the head size and positioning within the frame. That's why we always recommend the viewfinder mask for your camera. In this particular project, I brought this one up because this has very inconsistent head sizes and positionings, as you can see as I scroll through here. You can see the height from the top of the frame varies a lot, and the head sizes vary. So it's a good example for me to show you what I refer to, or we refer to as our smart crop technology. So let's go ahead and go into the crop screen. And let me kind of explain things as we look at it here. Right now, this project being a school project is set to a default 8x10 crop. You can see by clicking on an image and it's highlighted in the green band. If I come up here underneath the menu bar across the top, the action, I can clear selected crops or clear all, and I'll show you where that might be advantageous to you here in just a little bit. Navigation, to go through the different screens, I can do a Command N to move to the next screen, or a Command P to move back, and it would be Control N and Control P on a PC. I can also view if I want to get to some of the different products a little bit faster, I can do that through this option right here. Under the Options menu on the right-hand side up here, images per page, I can elect to show 40 if I want, or if I want to come back here to 24 if that makes more sense to me. I'll go ahead and leave that for the demonstration purposes at 15. I can show the oval or not, okay? And you also have the option to show it in red or green, whatever suits your needs based upon the type of project you're working on. So same kind of options you had in Easy Event 8, they're just in different areas. Down at the bottom, there's all the different products that are to be cropped, so I can view them from down here too. I can also use these buttons to navigate, forward and back, that sort of thing. And I can click on Edit Project to go back. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our crop tool. And I've got my head size guides on the left-hand side here that are set for a standard head size for most purposes. You can change those to suit your all's needs. But I'm just going to right-click and reposition that. And I'm going to use the shortcut keys to help me work through this faster. So I'm going to do Command F to apply this crop value forward. Okay? You can see these things are pretty inconsistent. So this may not do me a whole lot of good here, but I want you to realize that you have these tools to help you kind of work a little bit more efficiently. Okay? And the thing to do here, keep in mind, the more accurate you are with your cropping for the print crops, which is what we're doing here, the more consistent and the more accurate the rest of the cropping for the rest of the product line will be. So if I come in here and grab these three, see how I can move these three around because they're about the same. Come back over here and select this one, maybe adjust it back down. This girl's way off. So you can see this is pretty inconsistent to begin with, and there's really not a whole lot I can do about the print crops other than go through and be as consistent as possible. Now I want to move to my next page, so I'm going to do Command N to move to my next page. Okay, so just keep in mind, utilize those shortcut keys as much as possible. And if for some reason I think, did I miss something beforehand, I can do Command P for previous, Command N to go back to where I was. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work through the rest of these real quick, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the rest of the cropping features. Okay, so I've gone through and I've cropped all the images as accurately as I could for consistency's sake for print crops. And I might even want to come in here and modify and adjust a few here. And one thing I'll show you here real quick, well, let's just go ahead and go through here. Next, these look pretty consistent. This one head size might be just a tad bit big, considering the volume of hair. So everything looks pretty good. Now, I can close out of this screen by coming all the way down here in the right-hand corner and hitting Edit Project, or if I know my shortcut keys, which on a Mac is Command-W to close that window, or on a PC would be Control-W to close that window and take you out of there. Now, I want to show you one thing. If I come in here and come up to Project, Setup and Reports, and if I change this aspect ratio from 8:10 to image aspect ratio, I want you to watch what happens to the images. Now we're looking at 5:7 crops. And you can see now, when we look at these images, it's based upon a 5:7 crop instead of an 8:10. So our 5:7 is outside, 8:10 is inside. Okay? It's that easy to move back and forth between these things. So I'll come back under Project, Setup and Reports, and I'm going to go back to the appropriate one for school, which is 8:10, and hit Save. Okay? So I've done my initial crop on all the images, and again, basically that's my print crop. So what I need to do now is go through and do all the rest of the cropping for the different products that are being ordered from these images. So I come through here. There's my last set of images for my print crop. Now something new that you're going to see is what we call the service item crop. And you'll see how these are kind of all over the place, a little scattered here. That's because I went in and I messed with that 5:7 aspect ratio thing. So what I want to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to clear all cropping for all these products and reset these back to the print crop. Now you see how consistent they are because I had messed with them, and I've got them all back to based upon my print crop. That's our smart crop technology. So if I come in here, the purpose of the service item crop is so that I can order, let's say, ID cards with a higher magnification image of the subject. So if I come in here and zoom in on this little guy here and crop it about like that and apply that forward, you see how the rest of them pretty much line up without any problems whatsoever. If I've decided that that's a little too close, I can back out just a little bit, apply forward, and everything looks pretty good. Okay? So it's that easy to create a secondary crop that can be used for your ID cards, your sticker pages, your mug books, all those kinds of things, the service items in particular, and also for your general purpose export. Okay? So I'll hit N, Command N to go through the next. Come out here, and now I'm looking at the calendars. And maybe I want to zoom in a little bit on the calendar image itself. So I can apply that forward, and all of those head sizes stay extremely consistent. There may be an adjustment here or there that you might have to make, but for the most part, it's going to keep you from having to touch every single image. These are the locker magnets, okay? So if I want to see these a little bit better magnification, I can change my view to 6. And let's zoom out on these and apply that forward. We like that better, let's say. So you see how consistent it is when I apply the different varying crops based upon the different products, okay? Now these are the mouse pads. So I need to zoom out on these, reposition it about like that, crop that forward, maybe come in and adjust this just a little bit, and you can see how consistent the head sizing and positions are of all of those, okay? Now we're looking at magnets. Magnets, circular products have always been a problem, all right? So one of the things I can do here now with our Smart Crop technology, zoom out and reposition that. Let's go ahead and apply that crop forward, and you'll notice how consistent and what little amount of adjustments I might have to make to images, subject images, as we go through these. Keep in mind, the more accurate I am with my print crops, the less amount I'm going to have to do here. Okay? And last thing is we get into our PVC bag tags. Maybe we need to come in a little bit closer on these. Maybe we want them about like that. Let's change our view up here to 40. Okay, apply that forward, and you can see how we've adjusted all those crops. Okay, go next. Now we're looking at our dog tags, and let's come out here just a little bit. Since these are a little bit, we've got to be careful with them. Get them right about there. And see how consistent that is. Again, there might be a little bit of adjustments that need to be made on things. But you can see how much easier and faster it's going to be to move through these different. Now, when I get to the last set of products, you'll notice that my next button is grayed out. I can go no further, so I can just go back to my project itself. In this case, I'm going to use the shortcut key, which is Command W to close that window. Now I'm ready to place the order for all of those products.